10 years later, I return. 10 years later. So, for those of you who might be unaware, I was affiliated with a movement called Occupy Wall Street 10 years ago. And today, 10 years ago, October 1st, 2011, right around here is where about 700 of us, I remember the exact count being 780, but that's unofficial, but it was definitely over 700 of us. We shut down the Brooklyn Bridge, at least Brooklyn-bound side, and what happened was, it was inadvertent, to tell you the truth, because what was originally supposed to happen was there was a secret march from Zuccotti Park to Cabin Plaza Park over in Brooklyn. It was Occupy Wall Street was to meet up with Occupy Brooklyn for a General Assembly. The Direct Actions Working Group kept it very hush-hush. They never really explained to anybody how or why this General Assembly was going to happen. But approximately around 3 o'clock p.m. At the time, you had a throng of, I would say around 1,200 people leaving Zuccotti Park, and most of them came on the premise that there was supposed to be a secret Radiohead concert, which never really transpired. That was an invention of a mischievous organizer named Malcolm Harris, but I digress. So this throng of 1,200 people approached City Hall Park, and they made the turn towards Brooklyn. But what happened was we took the streets, and it appeared as if the NYPD were escorting us over to the Brooklyn side right when we reached this here first tower. The NYPD did an about face, and from behind the throng of 700, the NYPD netted us from behind with orange nets, and they managed to more or less hijack a bunch of MTA buses, because instead of just letting us cross over into Brooklyn, no, they decided to hold us here for about 6 hours and arrest all of us. And that's how the Brooklyn Bridge episode transpired, more or less. I was in the crowd. I started off on the pedestrian pathway where I'm standing right now. But, growing up, I was always a fan of bridges. And, I always had a thing for history. And I'm like, well, when am I ever going to get a chance to walk on the vehicle roadway of the Brooklyn Bridge, which is arguably the most famous bridge in the world? I'm sorry, California people, it's not the Golden Gate Bridge, it's this bridge behind me. And, make some history with a movement that I was more or less very involved with and helped with its foundation. So, there you go, that's how I wound up on the vehicle roadway. I hopped over where, obviously not here, because that would have been a very bad decision. No, I hopped over where, there was about a 5-foot jump from the pedestrian pathway to the vehicle roadway, and I was at the front and saw the whole thing happen when the cops turned about face, and it was Officer Winsky who gave this order, and there was a lot of pushing and shoving. I recall there was a sit-in for about an hour, then the police tried to squeeze us, and it was a very scary experience where we felt that the bridge was starting to vibrate. Yeah, you're above ground and above water, and you're being squeezed by the NYPD. And then the buses came, and they spent the rest of the time going one by one and putting zip ties on us and arresting us all. And I remember when the first arrest happened, everybody kind of, how can I say this? They sang the national anthem, but in a very sarcastic and cheesy way. Yes, we sang the Star Spangled Banner. And the land of the free! Yeah, we did that. That was I thought that was very funny, to tell you the truth. But I remember after getting arrested, you know, I saw some grown people crying because the zip ties were on them too tight. We're sitting on the buses. The police don't know what the hell is going on because they never arrested this many people all at once, and we don't know what the hell is going on. And I remember my arresting officer. He was actually a very nice man. He was an African-American guy who wanted to be a music teacher. I hope he ceased being a police officer and started doing just that. But anywho, I was taken on the bus that I was with to the Brooklyn 77th Precinct in Crown Heights, and I was with like 6 other people in a little jail cell. In fact, I was with a college professor and his student, and some guy who was not, you know, there you go, some guy who was not involved with the protest at all, and he's like, what the hell is going on? I'm like, well, we shut down the Brooklyn Bridge. So, yeah, it was around 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning where we started getting let out, and I managed to swipe my plastic handcuffs that were on the cell floor. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention, while my restrainment and cuffs, it didn't really feel too tight. You know, I didn't feel like I was losing circulation. Let me tell you something, sitting in a bus for 2 hours when you really gotta go to the bathroom, that sucks. That really sucks. So when I got into my jail cell, I told everybody, unless you want me to piss all over you, I really need to use the pot right now. So yeah, I forgot to mention that, but I digress again. So when we got out of the Brooklyn 77th, what happened was, like I said, I swiped my handcuffs on the jail cell floor. Nobody really cared, and I just put it in my backpack, and you know, took the train back to Zuccotti Park. And when I got back to Zuccotti Park, what happened was, you know, I'm kind of, I don't want to say I'm proud of it, but it was a pretty crazy ordeal. There we go again. It was a pretty crazy ordeal. You know, I produced my handcuffs and my little pink summons sheet, and I said, you know, oh, freedom cuffs. I got arrested and I'm free now. And some guy from the Associated Press snapped my photo. You know, I didn't really think much of it. I'm like, okay, snap my photo, whatever. You know, everybody's snapping photos of everybody at Zuccotti Park at the time. But you know, when I go home and I go to my mom's house. I had a long night. I mean, evidently I spent the night in jail. I wake up to catch the Giants-Arizona Cardinals game. But when midway through the game, my cell phone starts to blow up. I have 65 missed messages and like 30 text messages. Can you check the internet? Check the internet, please. I'm like, check the front page of BBC News or ABC News. I'm like, why should I check the front page of BBC News or ABC News? Because a friend writes, because you're on the front page of BBC News and ABC News. I'm like, really? Really? Yeah, and so that's what happened. I wake up and there's my mug on the front page of BBC, and you know, hundreds freed after a New York Wall Street protest on the Brooklyn Bridge, and that's how I get thrust into the spheres of Occupy infamy, as they say. So, you know, looking back upon the whole ordeal, the NYPD dropped all of our charges. You know, we shut the bridge down. They dropped all of our charges because of the mix-up that more or less we didn't get clear instructions that we weren't supposed to be on the Brooklyn Bridge. But the problem was this. This tower that I'm standing, you see this problem? This tower that I'm standing behind? This is the Manhattan Tower. Okay, there's a weight limit, and that bus right there is breaking the weight limit rule. Sorry to mention it, but it should be 3 tons per vehicle. The Brooklyn Tower, its infrastructure, at least its caisson, rests 77 feet below the river bottom, but never made it to bedrock. The Brooklyn Tower's caisson is 44 feet below river bottom and has made it to bedrock. So you're talking about uneven towers on uneven terrain at uneven levels. And truth be told, it's dangerous to be putting 21-ton buses on the Brooklyn Bridge and arresting everybody, because that would put pressure on the Manhattan Tower and cause it to further sink into the mud, because it's on mud, not on bedrock. So that's the real reason why I think they dropped all of our charges, because they put the bridge's structural integrity in great danger. And really, they should have just let us walk over into Brooklyn. But it is what it is. You know, looking back at the Brooklyn Bridge arrest, I regard this as probably the most important watershed moment of my life, at least up until the current time. You know, not married, I don't have kids, so really it was the arrest on the Brooklyn Bridge which dictated the trajectory of my existence. You know, I have this saying, you know, you got a horse that presents itself, and if the horse is there, you got to ride that horse to the end. So I got arrested, and you know, I was all in with Occupy Wall Street, even beyond the park. You know, I spent the year traveling around the country, filming protests, meeting people, organizers, politicians, and got really involved with the activism scene. But because of my arrest on the Brooklyn Bridge, it caused me to lose my job, which I was working at a security firm at the time. But I got retaliated against, so I was able to collect unemployment and just travel for almost 2 years. So yes, that's how I got really involved within the inner workings of the Occupy Wall Street movement. And there you go. What happened here on this bridge changed my life for better and for worse. And you know, I look back upon it, and it was the most awkward moment of my life, because I wasn't planning on getting arrested. But it was also probably the most consequential moment of my life, and I don't regret it. You know, if I could come here with 700 people and get arrested for shutting down traffic on the Brooklyn Bridge again, I would gladly do it. So there you go. That's my whole analysis based on what happened here 10 years ago on this day today. And thank you very much. This is Comrade Pellis signing out.